values.
All right, testing.
Hey everybody, uh, I'm Joe McLean. I'm jumping on my pages today. I should be streaming over Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch, I believe. And if you have a comment or anything like that, feel free to leave it in the chat box. I should be able to see it here. I wanted to jump on today and start using this my platforms a little bit, and really mainly to get comfortable with this type of streaming platform. I'm pretty new to it, as you viewers can probably tell, but I want to be able to do a lot more content via this means. I think this is really cool. But the main thing I wanted to talk about today is news that's coming really, really fast here in the state of Missouri. And so what I want to do is talk about the subject for today. Of course, subject for today is Missouri's democracy and how it is imperiled. Now, I already got a comment. Hold on a minute. If you're watching me on vertical, you can see my my title was a little messed up there. I'm still new at this, as you can folks. So Josh Hitch, I got a comment here from Josh Hitch from Facebook. If they vote for IP reform, which is the term that Republicans are using, will it have to go to the ballot? The answer to that is yes, I believe so. Anything that has to do with changing how we pass constitutional amendments, I believe has to go to the ballot. I need to double check what the proposal is, and how the special session has called. Mackenzie Ortiz asks, "Do I have SoundGate on?" I don't assume so. I'm still new to this technology, to this tech, and so I may be missing a particular application that would be helpful. Any advice or anything would be great. But I'll be honest. I'll say I didn't want like perfection to be the enemy of me actually starting to use these applications and getting comfortable with them. So I mean, I want to improve as I go, but the point is I want to start going, if that makes sense. I think it's important for us to have conversations and to build out sort of our infrastructure to be able to talk about this as a state. Now, I'm coming on here on multiple platforms, but I've been for the past several weeks. Oh, thank you for your note, Mackenzie. Thank you. I'm gonna be a little bit more careful on my mic placement now. So thank you very much. Yeah, this is a Sennheiser mic. I actually, just between you, me, and the three people on this live right now, I found this mic. This was a lost mic that I found that I just ended up being able to hang on to. So it was nice. All right. So what I want to do is, oh, sorry. Yes, I got to make sure that my mic is going to continue to pick me up here. Thank you for your note, Mackenzie. I appreciate it. So what we're going to be talking about is a few different things, but mainly the in Missouri on Friday, um, Republican Governor Mike Kehoe of the state of Missouri called for a special legislative session. And specifically, he is basically yielding, caving, whatever you want to call it. He's capitulating to demands from President Donald Trump because of how extremely unpopular the president has been. His poll numbers are sinking. And so there's not very good outlook for Republicans in the upcoming midterms. That's the 2026 election cycle. Typically, the party in power struggles in midterms. Just, I think, generally, if we want to be, technical about it, it's kind of because everybody likes to complain about a lot of times people say the midterms is a referendum on the party in power, meaning it's not really, we don't really put one party or one candidate up against another. It's how bad do we not like the person in, and that usually, but I know that's really murky now. I don't even think any political rules are like hard and fast anymore, just because of how individualized we've all become. I mean, on the Democratic side. So Pig Vomit asks, says, I look familiar. Am I famous? No, I'm not. I'm not famous. I was I was in media for a long time in the state of Missouri, particularly in Middle Missouri mostly, but then across the state of Missouri. So if I look familiar, it may be because I'm assuming you might live in Missouri. Icy says my sound quality is really poor. Okay, noted. I'm going to check on that, and I'm actually going to roll some recording right now so I can evaluate my sound. So thank you for the notes. This is important, and I'm going to be checking this afterwards to see how I can improve it. So you guys are witnessing, anybody who's viewing right now is witnessing my first multi-platform live stream for this purpose. So the governor called this special session. Let's watch really quick. I'm going to see if this works at all. But let's watch his announcement video really quick. And I'm going to open this up all the way here. Now, you should be able to hear this when I play this. This video is Governor Mike Kehoe. Let's listen.
Rooted in faith.
Okay, wait, just a minute. I want to refresh this so we hear the whole thing.
Common sense values rooted in faith, family, and freedom should be truly represented at all levels of government, local, state, and federal.
Okay, already, really quick. He says this is the thing that he's trying to say to justify why they are redrawing the maps 6 years early, 6 years before like the next time we're supposed to do it per our Constitution and law. They're deciding to just do it now because, I mean, we know it's obviously because Donald Trump doesn't want to lose control of Congress in the midterms, but he says it's representative. Governor Kehoe says he wants this to be representative. But it's absolutely false. Representative would mean our congressional delegation does closely reflect the makeup of our voting population. No, he wants to skew it more. He wants to make it less representative, and he wants to weight it more towards just Republicans. This is the thing that has never been done. People will argue that there's been gerrymandering all the time. That's true, and I would argue it's not good whenever it happens. Every single district should be as competitive as possible, in my opinion. But it's just gotten to where, every 10 years that, each party really does do, significant gerrymandering. But there's always been a recognition that even the minority party needs some portion of representation in Washington, D.C. and across the state. So it's never, gerrymandering, yeah, has always been a thing. And it's been on the 10-year census schedule. But it's never been, okay, we're in power, that means we need to get as much power as possible and actually cut off the minority. Cut off the minority as much as possible. That's never been the game. When people say, oh, Democrats do it too, Democrats have not done that. Democrats do not do that. And this amounts to the beginning of a breakdown of our democratic system. So when he says it needs to represent Missouri's values, he's saying his specific values. That is the minority opinion. Because we'll get to this, but let's keep watching Governor Mike Kehoe.
Because representation isn't just about districts and lines on one map. And our Constitution shouldn't be the victim of out-of-state special interests who spend millions to deceive voters and pass out-of-touch policies.
Okay, and there we go again. This is him helping to rationalize for the people who lost these last two ballot measures. The people who voted against these ballot measures, which he voted against them, he was on the losing side of this, even though he won his election, and Republicans won the offices overall. They lost these ballot measures. They took the position of they don't want to enshrine reproductive rights in the Missouri's Constitution, and they took the position that they do not want to pass Proposition A, which was a set of protections for workers, which included a dynamic minimum wage that increases with inflation, and a minimum amount of earned sick leave requirement as a benefit for all employers in the state. Our government, our Republican-controlled legislature, and this guy, they repealed those. They basically blocked them. Now, the abortion, maybe you're asking how can they block a constitutional amendment? What they've done is they've stopped the constitutional right to reproductive health care in court, and the lawmakers have passed another ballot measure that would covertly, I say covertly because it doesn't tell voters, it would covertly repeal the constitutional right to abortion that we just secured. And it would basically, it's basically a covert repeal and a way for Republicans to basically define what the exceptions are. So basically, they are allowed to ban abortion again under this. It would be a return to an abortion ban in Missouri. But the extremely shameful, deceptive part of it is that it works. It's deliberately deceptive to voters, which is just really, really, it's just gross. So now, by the way, this special session has been called for basically corrupting the congressional map. Essentially, this is a look at how it would redraw Missouri's congressional districts. So right now, Kansas City is basically kind of its own district. Sorry, this is really bright, so I'm shining a huge light on my face. But basically what this does is this attempts to break up the city of Kansas City. This is a zoomed-in look at how Kansas City would be redrawn under this. The lines, the voting lines. This basically, again, people say this type of gerrymandering allows politicians to pick their voters instead of voters picking their leaders. And this is absolutely it. if you don't like gerrymandering, if you believe in equal, fair representation, you should be absolutely opposing this. And okay, so here's another part of the map, and you can see this also breaks up another sort of blue hub within the state of Missouri, a blue population, which is the city of Columbia, College Town, of course. It's just about 30 minutes north of where I am right now. So this is just absolutely let's throw the rules out the window. We don't care anymore about voter, like representing the voting population of Missouri. We want as much power as possible. And I'll be honest, that's scary. It's scary to me because I grew up believing that this system was just going to, I kind of took for granted that this system was one that was designed to be resilient to people's worst impulses, because ultimately if people tried this, then voters are supposed to respond to this, voters are supposed to react negatively to this, okay? And basically it's kind of like our immune system has been switched off, which is really scary. The immune system that is meant to recognize when there is somebody who is in one of these public service positions who does not have the general welfare as the center of what their political philosophy is. And maybe that sounds, super West Wingy or whatever, but I have to hope that is what people eventually crave out of this era of politics, which is basically it. We're either going to get past this or we will not, and I don't know right now. When I say get past this, it's like right now the country is so dramatically, deeply polarized because one side has been absolutely indoctrinated with anti-American, anti-democratic ideology, which has very obviously been fed in from foreign influences, including Russia. But I mean, even during, I think right now people who nominally support Trump and support the MAGA Republican platform are thinking it's like they think of the government or the positions of power, elected positions, as being sort of like a public referendum on what culture is acceptable or what type of social behaviors or what. Yeah, it's like a pedestal that if you claim it, you're then able to be control culture or something like that. And so when they saw Donald Trump's re-election as a recapture of American culture and control of American society, which that's never, if you really scrutinize that idea, that's not the case. That's never been the case. That's never been the case. You can't control culture. The government doesn't control culture, right? Culture is like the weather. It's like, saying culture war is like saying, the weather, two weather systems are fighting or something. It's basically it's a societal force that is not something that you control. And also, the idea that we have one culture, just one culture, and only, American culture can only be one thing at a time. And if, the other party gets elected, then they control the culture, and your culture is devalued or something like that. If you really thought about that, you'd understand that's not the case. There's devaluing someone's culture based on, based on who occupies the public political offices. At least it's not supposed to. Right now there is literal. I mean, that's the whole nature of the culture war, quote unquote, is people attempting to use government to impose, social behaviors or cultural status quo. I don't know what the plural form of quo is. So it just doesn't work like that, and the idea, the false idea that it does is just a lie, and it's just more fear mongering. Like I've often said, we're in an environment that in this environment of infinite information, there's no limit on the amount of information that we have access to at any moment, and that's a state that humanity hasn't been in ever before, because we haven't had this technology. And so I'm convinced it's fundamentally continuing to change our sociology and how we think about each other, and how we think about what our country means, what it means to be a citizen of our country. Because if you asked yourself, are there people in our country that are more loyal to their political party than the idea that they are an American citizen? They're more obviously what we're seeing with Governor Mike Kehoe with this, and what Republicans are doing right now with this redistricting special session. They are actively taking a position that they are more loyal, and I want. I'm recording this, so I'm going to try to mark this for a clip. With this special session, Governor Mike Kehoe and the Missouri Republicans are showing that they are more loyal to their political party than to the state of Missouri, than to Missouri voters. Mike Kehoe cares more about what a Republican voter in another state thinks of him than what a Missouri Democrat thinks of him, like someone who is his constituent. He cares more about serving Republicans outside of Missouri, and particularly one in Washington, D.C., than he cares about his own constituents. And I mean the Democratic ones. This is what's really important to understand about what Governor Kehoe is doing and how chilling it is that he is absolutely turning his back. He is abandoning more than millions of his own constituents in doing this. He is actively working with, by using this map, he is actively working against his own citizens, his own constituents. He's working against Missourians in favor of, in his words, out-of-state influences. Another thing, so this special session coming up is going to be about redrawing Missouri's congressional lines to try to get more Republicans in Congress. It has nothing to do with Missouri. It's just about padding the national Republicans' numbers. And then they want to sabotage the initiative petition process, which is how Missourians have passed really awesome stuff in the past, but stuff Republicans don't like. Stuff Republicans won't do, we have to pass via ballot measure. We passed, cannabis. We expanded Medicaid. We passed that increased minimum wage. We enshrined abortion rights in the Constitution, all through the citizen initiative process. That is the process that they want to absolutely just sabotage and cut off. And they're doing it in an even more extreme way than they tried during session. Because right now, they're like, we can do anything. Republicans, these elected Republicans in Missouri believe they can do anything right now and not see any electoral consequences. If that's true, if they don't, that we're already in an extremely dangerous position, like the lions currently eating our legs. But if they are able to retain power, we're dead. It would represent the fundamental death of Missouri's longstanding democratic system and basically classical liberalism in general in the state of Missouri. We would be an occupied, because at that point it would render the results of our democracy largely moot, and it would essentially be democracy ending itself, which is just scary. I mean, I don't know if the founding fathers ever thought about that as an idea. Like the result of democracy would be its ultimate end. Can people? We have the power to vote away our liberty, vote away our freedom. That the beginnings of that is what's at stake. And so I appreciate everybody who has been part of this live. I've been just working to...
It's the responsibility of the state legislature to ensure that values of Missouri families and communities are represented in Washington, D.C. and in our state.
Yeah, so here's the thing, though. They overturned our values. They overturned our values. The values he's talking about. We demonstrated that our values are, we want reproductive rights. We want a higher minimum wage. We want to raise the standard of labor and the standard for workers in this state. That's what our values are. We express them in the most significant and most potent way we can, which is through direct ballot, like through a direct ballot issue. And because it goes against their thing, because it goes against what they wanted, what their donors wanted, they are abusing their power, stabbing Missourians in the back, and cutting off their access. And the thing is, Kehoe knows it. Kehoe knows this. The governor, he knows this is true, and he knows how wrong this is to mess with the maps like this. And that's why you can almost see it on his face in this video. You can see it, and as he's talking, you can hear it. He knows this is wrong. And he and all the rest of these Republicans are counting. They're counting on a majority of Missourians not paying attention, tuning out, or thinking this is to their benefit. Thinking, oh yeah, well it's my side in charge, so we're good, so this is fine. So that's the scary part. Is these guys know how wrong this is, and they're standing here telling us that this is about getting better represented. No, they deliberately want to dilute the voices of their own constituents, of his own. He has a duty to be governor for everyone. That's always been the case. That's what we're seeing break down right now. The idea that the government has a responsibility to cover everyone. Yeah, there's partisan stuff, but when you're in power, you have a responsibility to administer public safety, equal rights, administer democracy for everyone, and keep it going. That's what we're seeing break down right now. And people are saying, "Oh, well, Democrats are going to condemn California." California could have done this any year. California could have done this last year. They could have done it like in the lead up to 2020, 2024. To rig the thing for they didn't, because you don't do this. We're not supposed to do this. Not in Missouri, not in California, not in Texas. This breaks our system. This fundamentally breaks our system. He knows it. He knows it. And they're taking advantage of so little faith in that system right now, because stuff like this. Frankly, it's stuff like this. It's stuff like what they did in November when they completely we voted for something and they just overturned it. They just canceled it. That stuff hurts faith in the system, and now they're exploiting the lack of faith in the system to say, yeah, well, but we can buck the system. So, anyway, if you're stressed about this, if this is concerning to you, I'm going to go ahead and close down my my recording. I might regret that, but if this is stressful to you, I get it. I'm losing sleep over this. This is affecting like my appetite because of how just how scary it is to see this. We're watching in real time the deterioration of our democratic system, our democratic norms, and we're seeing our nation fundamentally split, not geographically, but split ideologically. Like the Civil War had the North and the South, and they had geographical dividing lines. There was territory that changed hands. But here, the battlefield is in our minds. It's in our social media feeds, and it's in the battle over our worldview and our perspective. That's the battlefield of 2025. That's the battlefield on which this civil war is being fought right now. And I just desperately hope enough people understand what parts of this system we need to preserve, and what parts obviously need a lot of reform. But we're about to lose a whole lot if more people don't start to understand what is at stake here. And people are taking advantage. Like these Republican politicians are taking advantage of people's, like, how much they identify. Their identity is tied up with their political party. People have an emotional loyalty to this as a sort of, like, they view it as a branch of culture that they have to, like, defend. And it's like, that's not the case. That's really unhealthy. And also, that's not how Democrats think about their political party, as you can very obviously see. Frankly, it'd benefit Democrats if they were a little more like that. I'm just kidding. So that's the scary part. And if that is, it's unsustainable, and it represents a cancerous threat to liberal democracy. And when I say the word liberal, that's become in many minds a derogatory term, but I mean the definition of liberal, the classical liberalism, which I'd encourage, if anybody is confused about that, to look that up. Anyway, hey, listen, I appreciate everybody who popped in and out of this live stream. This helped me learn a little bit. I'm going to watch some of the recording that I took to see, what sound issues I might be able to correct. But I appreciate it. It looks like we had some people join from Facebook, from YouTube. Don't look like anybody commented from Instagram, but that's okay. Hey, I appreciate everybody. Have a good Labor Day weekend, and you'll see me pop up here live again at some point, and maybe I'll be on TikTok too. So follow this page if you want to keep up to date. Hey, listen, even if you're not a Democratic voter in Missouri, if you just want to kind of like get a honest, unvarnished perspective, I'm a good person to follow. I try to speak it plainly, and I try to be as respectful as appropriate. So please let me know. Something popped up on my screen now. I wonder what that is. All right. Anyway. All right. I'm closing down the live for now, but I appreciate it.